One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Trump, everybody they know, they gonna vote for Donald Trump, that's the way it goes. All over America, all over the USA, they voted for Donald Trump, that's what I'm trying to say. Election is over, everyone can see. Donald Trump is now the president of your country. Election is over, everyone can see. Donald Trump is now the president of your country. I want to make America great again.
Woo!
I want to lower the taxes. I want to bring all American business back from overseas back to the USA, baby.
There we go.
Ooh, yeah, Donald Trump is now the president of your country. Election is over, everybody can see. Donald Trump is now the president of your country. Election is over, everyone can see. Donald Trump is now the president of your country.
For 3 decades before my election, drug overdose deaths increased every single year. Under my leadership, we took the drug and fentanyl crisis head on, and we achieved the first reduction in overdose deaths in more than 30 years. I also proudly signed the Support Act, the largest investment ever in combating the opioid epidemic. Sadly, under Joe Biden, our hard-won progress has been surrendered along with the surrender of our southern border. It's such a shame. Now fentanyl and other ultra-deadly poisons are pouring into our country unchecked, stealing more than 100,000 American lives every single year, and many people think that real number is 300,000 to 400,000. Joe Biden's record is one of death, destruction, and misery in communities all across our nation. When I'm back in the White House, I will take action on day one to end this horrific plague and save American lives. Joe Biden will never solve the drug overdose crisis because he is actively destroying our border. What he has done to our border, we had the safest border in the history of our country, and now we have the worst border probably anywhere in the world, including third world countries. That's why I have previously announced I will impose a full naval embargo on the drug cartels and deploy military assets to inflict maximum damage on cartel operations. I will insist on the full cooperation of neighboring governments to dismantle the trafficking and smuggling networks in our region, and I will ask Congress to ensure that drug dealers, kingpins, and human traffickers receive the death penalty. At the same time, I will direct federal law enforcement here in the United States to take down the gangs and organized street crime that distribute these deadly narcotics on a local level. They are killing our people. They are poisoning our beautiful children. I will permanently designate fentanyl as a federally controlled substance, and I will tell China that if they do not clamp down on the export of fentanyl's chemical precursors, they will pay a steep price. I had a deal worked out with President Xi. They weren't going to be sending any more, and they were going to impose the death penalty on those that made it in China. But with a rigged election, that ended. Attacking the supply of these deadly drugs will be just the beginning. We must also do more to end the scourge of addiction here at home. Among the most important steps we can take is to strengthen the pillars that give life, meaning, and hope for those struggling with addiction, particular work, faith, and family. We need work, faith, and family. My administration will support measures to make it easier for those suffering from addiction to seek treatment without losing their jobs. We will forge new public-private partnerships for companies willing to provide job opportunities and skills training for former addicts. We will expand federal support for faith-based counseling, treatment, and recovery programs, recognizing that we are going to need God's help to steer our country out of this crisis. Finally, we will ensure that if a parent, child, spouse, or other relative needs to take time to care for a loved one fighting to overcome addiction, they are more easily able to take advantage of the family leave program, so important. When I'm president, we will not rest until we have ended the drug addiction crisis in America. We will win. It will happen. We have to win, though, in 2024, because our country is going to hell. Thank you.
All right, so he won. As you know, he is going to be the president and will be sworn in January. But the battle lines are now being drawn, and people are digging their heels in. And so tonight's 7:30 show, I want to talk to you a little bit about how bad this is going to be and what you may need to do to help with the fight, to support the front lines of what's going on. The Democrats are losing their minds. They're absolutely losing it. I haven't seen them dug in like this since, like last week, 2 weeks ago. I mean, it's crazy, absolutely crazy. They won't accept it. They're going to do everything they possibly can to fight Trump and his agenda every single way. Instead of trying to figure out what'll help the country, nope, they're just going to fight everything. So, in case you guys didn't know, got two pieces of news for you. The Supreme Court of Pennsylvania ruled earlier today that they cannot count these illegal ballots. Don't know why this woman went on television, decided she was going to tell the world, yep, I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to, count as many illegal ballots as possible. The Supreme Court said, no, you can't. Now, if Bob Casey had any resemblance of being a man, or if Josh Shapiro had any resemblance of being a man, they would concede. Josh Shapiro would tell Bob Casey, it's over. You tried. You fought valiantly. We thought we could cheat you over the hump, but it's not going to work. You're done. Concede. Let's move on to the next fight. Dave McCormick will be the next senator from Pennsylvania. There's no doubt about it. However, what else they're going to try and do, I have no idea, but it didn't work. Thank God this time the courts are seeing these people for what they really are. So you have to basically salute Laura Trump and Michael Whatley, because they've been all over this stuff. And so I know a lot of people had some wondering what was going on out in Arizona. We don't know yet. But seeing how they are reacting to other lawsuits that they file, something tells me they are aware of something in Arizona, and they're going to do something. We're going to have to let it play out. You notice they've been really quiet. That's one of the indications to me, is that you don't want to tip your hand. And Laura Trump and Whatley and even Donald Trump have been kind of quiet about Arizona. That tells me something is in the works. Something else that's in the works, which came out today. Very, very, very interesting. Breaking: the Georgia Court of Appeals has abruptly canceled oral arguments in the Fani Willis RICO case against Trump, which suggests that they may be dismissing the case entirely. Georgia attorney Phil Holloway added that it might mean the court is prepared to rule on the basis of the briefs that have been filed. If so, that likely means really bad news for Fani Willis. I think dismissal could be imminent. Another lawfare cog may be falling very, very soon. The lawfare machine has no fuel left. This is from the Court of Appeals from the state of Georgia. The Court of Appeals hereby passes the following order. And it lists all the defendants along with their case numbers. And it says the oral argument, which is scheduled to take place on December 5th, 2024, at 10:30 a.m., is hereby canceled until further order of this court. And somebody else is down here. It says the abrupt cancellation of the oral arguments in the Fani Willis case against Trump is a clear sign that the Georgia Court of Appeals may be on the brink of dismissing this politically motivated circus. This case was never about justice. It was about using the courts as a weapon. If that goes down, if Georgia gets tossed out, the only thing out there is Judge Merchan, which I talked about earlier. And he doesn't have much either. And then, of course, the appeal of the Letitia James outrageous $400 million fine. But the only other one, criminal one, is that one with Judge Merchan. So if this Lego breaks, if this domino falls, you got to pretty much think Merchan is done. It's all done. There's nothing they could do. If this one gets thrown out because it's basically the same technicality, that technicality being the Supreme Court says you can't do it. He's immune from it. If the Supreme Court, that little technicality, the Supreme Court, then that means all bets off for Georgia and all bets off for Judge Merchan. That happened today. In addition, we do have some additional news. Trump has named a Secretary of Transportation. Let me see if I can't make this look a little bit better as well. Wait a minute, let me open up a different window. That's my dog growling. All right, so statement from President Donald Trump. I am pleased to announce that former Congressman Sean Duffy from the great state of Wisconsin is nominated to serve as the Secretary of Transportation. Sean has a tremendous and well-liked public servant, has been a tremendous and well-liked public servant, starting his career as a district attorney for Ashland, Wisconsin, and later selected to the U.S. House of Representatives for Wisconsin's 7th Congressional District. As you know, he's married to Elena Campos Duffy, who's a Fox host, and he's been a Fox contributor. So Trump is Rachel Campos Duffy. I said Elena. Rachel Campos Duffy. So Trump has been raiding Fox News for his cabinet, and Sean Duffy is now going to be the Secretary of Transportation, which is interesting because the past Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, don't want to get these guys pissed off at me. If you remember, Pete Buttigieg is the one who said that bridges are racist. That they built bridges to basically, with knowledge of forethought to affect black people a certain way. The bridge itself was racist and we had to do something about it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that nut. So now we got Sean Duffy, who's going to be the new one. I think it's a good pick. I like Sean. I think it's a good pick. Something else in the news that since we last talked at 3:30 when we did our show is this one. And I just love that he's just needling this little nut, this little scammer, you grifter. From now on, President Trump says, Vladimir Zelensky is going to wear a coat and tie when he meets the president moving forward. Power move. Alpha dog move. You come here to the White House, you better have a coat and tie on. That is purely alpha dog move right there. And don't come begging because you ain't getting more money, so maybe he won't ever come back. But he may come back because if you poke that dude over there and you start launching stuff and he decides to make, a Kiev a parking lot, then you might need me, if I'm Trump, to help, broker the surrender. Hey, Zelensky, you want to think you're badass and launch some stuff over at Vlad? Have at it. Have at it. Listen to Biden. Listen to the dementia patient. You go do that and see what happens. It's absolutely crazy. Absolutely nuts what's going on. And then something else is happening. So you've got the rats who are still in the government trying to do everything possible that they can. Everything to basically hurt Trump moving in. So we have this coming out. New hearing. NSA officials Wendy Noble, who's the deputy director, and Marlissa Smith planning to lead resistance against 47, Nome, and Gabbard, and have also reached out to others around the intelligence community to discuss sanitizing the PDB. The PDB, just so you know, is a presidential daily briefing. Now that he's president-elect, they're supposed to be giving him information, including a presidential daily briefing and all kinds of things about what's going on in the world so they can, have that successful, easy transition. But now you got these people plotting and plotting on how to stop Trump there. It's not going to end. All these people are just scum. Whatever was in the White House, I had seen somebody who said, what, don't even go into the White House. Make Mar-a-Lago the new Southern White House like he did before. Don't even go there. I would have my entire staff down here. Forget that place. It's full of snakes. There's probably bugs everywhere. I don't mean like crawly bugs. I mean like bugs listening to everything. Melania's probably not going to be comfortable. She's probably going to stay down here in Palm Beach. I wouldn't want my son. I know Barron's going to school up there, but still, what a bed of snakes you're going to be going into. And I just don't trust anybody up there. Just don't trust anybody up there. Then I saw this, which I want to show you. President Trump is personally calling GOP senators to inform them that they must, big letters, must vote to confirm Matt Gaetz as the Attorney General. Senator Kevin Cramer said Trump was, quote, very persuasive. You could read between the lines on that one. What exactly does he mean by, quote, very persuasive? He clearly wants Matt Gaetz. He believes Matt Gaetz is the one person who will have the fearlessness and ferociousness to do what he needs to be doing at the Department of Justice. One thing about Donald Trump, people should never confuse his support for one of his nominees as a tactical or strategic tool for somebody else, and at least to this point, he's putting his own political capital behind it. And he's, quote, again, a pretty persuasive guy. Attorney General Matt Gaetz will happen one way or another. I don't know what he's using and what he's talking about being persuasive, but it's obvious at this point that lines are being drawn. Lines are being drawn all over Washington, actually all over the country. Different people saying we're not going to do what the president says that he wants to do. Okay. Yeah, you do that. Let's see what happens with all the capital he's now getting and everything that's going on. I want you to take a listen here to the fight, as I'm calling it, the fight in terms of what's coming next, because this is a big one. This is probably the biggest fight, even probably more than some of the picks that he has for his cabinet.
But breaking tonight, we're learning new details about what figures to be one of the biggest fights here in Washington once President-elect Trump and the new Republican Congress get to work. The president-elect is confirming he plans to use the U.S. military to help carry out mass deportations of illegal immigrants. Democrats are already planning their opposition to that effort. Correspondent Mark Meredith starts us off tonight here on set. Good evening, Mark.
Brett, good evening to you. It's going to be quite the fight. The incoming Trump administration says it does not know yet how much it's going to cost to carry out its mass deportation plans. But Democrats say they are ready to spend their hard-earned political capital to slow down or stop such an effort. Tonight, President-elect Trump is vowing on Truth Social to use the full resources of the federal government, including declaring a national emergency and deploying the U.S. military to make good on plans to increase deportations of illegal immigrants.
On day one, I will launch the largest deportation program.
Already working on the plan. I'll be going down to Mar-a-Lago this week to put the final touches on the plan. But yeah, we're going to take the handcuffs off ICE. Well, look, I think the president's been clear on the stage. As far as the deportation operation, we will prioritize public safety threats and national security threats because they pose the biggest danger to the United States.
As he's talking, I don't want to interrupt him because I really want to hear what Holman has to say. You're going to hear two beeps I had to put in. And I'll explain to you afterwards, if maybe you can fill in the blanks, but you'll hear the two beeps.
Security, he's got three rails. So we'll do the deportation operation with the priorities I just talked to you out of the gate. That'd be the priorities. Second thing is secure that border. Lock that border down and catch and release and secure the border. The third rail is we got over 300,000 missing children. Over 500,000 children have been trafficked into the United States. This administration released them to unvetted sponsors, and they can't find 300,000 of them. And based on my 3.5 decades, some of these children are in forced labor. We already found some in forced labor. Some are in forced trafficking. Some are living with. We need to save these children. So that's going to be the third rail.
All right, so those two beeps were, and it's interesting that it's not until you hear Trump getting in office do you hear anybody, nobody on the left, even not once in years mentioned 300 to 400,000 kids missing. How could that not have been a priority? How could understanding, retrieving, or even finding out where 300,000 to 500,000 kids are? You know, the people who like, oh, he's separating people, separating families. What about these 325 to 500,000 kids? You don't care about them? You don't even want to talk about them. Why is that? You see, that's something that people really need to dig in. That's what Matt Gaetz needs to dig in. Why were these kids not a priority? You know, the most gentle and unprotected among us, the most vulnerable among us. And you did nothing? You don't even mention them? You don't even have anybody on television mentioning anything about 300,000 kids? I had to bleep what he said because people here don't want to face the facts. See, what he said was, in his 30 years of being involved in the border, he knows that many of these kids have been, let me use a different word, transported? Yeah, that's a word I can use. And then the other word he used, which I'm shocked that Fox let it be said, it rhymes with a Speedo, bathing suit. If you catch my drift there. He says he thinks the people in the Speedo bathing suits took some of these kids. First time, very first time I've ever heard it on television. Not in any other newscast, not in any other podcast. I'm not talking about our guys, I'm talking about their people. I don't see it on Twitter/X. I don't hear it on Facebook. Probably because if you mention the word about the Speedo bathing suits, if you even reference Speedo bathing suits, you get nuked. You get absolutely, you're gone. Why is that? Why can we not talk about these 300,000 kids? Which has to be close to 500,000 at this point. Why can we never discuss what went on that island? Why is it off limits to discuss who and what they were doing with, that rapper guy? You know the rapper guy, the one that was hanging out with Justin Bieber, Puffy, Why can't we talk about that? See, I want Matt Gaetz to dig in. I want Matt Gaetz to understand what is going on with censorship, because I don't think it's about what they say it is. I don't think it has anything to do with somebody being offended. I think it has everything to do to make sure they continue protecting the Speedo wearers. You see, there's so many possibilities. We've all heard the rumors because that's all we're allowed to hear. And so now you've got Tom Homan, who suffers no fools, straight up saying that's Trump's 1, 2, or 3 priority. Stop fentanyl, close the border, find these 350,000 kids. I don't know if they're in that order. They may be different. Didn't Kamala never mention those kids one time? Interested? Dementia Joe never mentioned those kids one time. Jake Tapper never mentions those kids. It's conspicuous by its absence. You know, it's obviously news. You know it's big news, but nobody is allowed to talk about it for one reason or the other. Either you're told you can't or you don't feel you can. And to me, it's such a painful scab in America. It has to be, a scab at America to think that the most vulnerable people in this country, even if they weren't from here, we allowed this to happen on our soil. And yet, you're gonna see people marching in the streets and talking about everything they're gonna do, and you'll hear they don't mention the kids.
From the streets of New York to the halls of Capitol Hill, Democrats are vowing to block Trump's plans.
We will be playing a lot of defense, I know, over the next couple of years, protecting our communities, particularly our immigrant communities.
No, you forgot the word that goes before that. The word illegal. And what about the kids? No mention. Not a word.
New research estimates there are 11 million illegal immigrants living in the U.S. Trump officials say they plan to prioritize those who pose a risk to public safety for deportation first.
Any caravan that's trying to get into the country now, they're going to be apprehended and sent home.
Democrats on the local and state level are vowing to block any such efforts.
What will Boston's response be if these mass deportations take place?
Yeah, look.
This is the mayor of Boston, Massachusetts.
Elections have consequences, and the federal government is responsible for a certain set of actions, and no individual city can reverse or override some parts of that. But what we can do is make sure that we are doing our part to protect our residents in every possible way, that we are not cooperating with those efforts that actually threaten the safety of everyone by causing widespread fear and have
widespread fear? What about
having large-scale economic impact?
Governor Pritzker, thank you for being here. Let's talk about that.
Oh, when she's on the screen what's coming, right?
Can the state of Illinois prevent the federal government from building internment camps, a.k.a. what they're calling detention facilities in Chicago?
Well, we have prohibited by law in the state of Illinois the use of any of our existing county jails or prisons for the purpose of rounding people up and detaining them. I want to be clear.
Isn't that the very nature of what a jail is? I mean, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure every single jail in every county and city in this country is about detaining people. But you don't want to do that for other people who broke the law. What is it with you people and these newcomers? I don't get why you're laying down and just, hey, not them. We can't detain them. Oh, we can detain Leroy, but we can't detain, these people.
Clear that there are certain circumstances in which the federal government and state governments should work together to allow deportation. An example would be somebody who's been convicted of a violent crime. But they're talking about rounding up people who are law-abiding, undocumented immigrants in this country, many of whom are working, paying taxes, not getting any benefits for those taxes, I might add.
They're not getting any benefit for those taxes. All right, two things with that. One, if they're working and paying taxes, then you've got some problem with the, basically the employers. Because if the employers didn't do the check, to make sure that they're actually supposed to be here, then you got a whole different problem. Number two, if they're paying taxes, pretty sure they're somehow getting transported or driving themselves to and from work. That's a benefit. That's what you tell us anyways. I'm pretty sure you just said you're going to protect the hell out of them so they don't have any issues. I'm pretty sure that's a benefit as well. I'm pretty sure that they can feel comfortable walking down the street and that the police will protect them. That's another benefit. So what do you mean they're not getting any benefits? You don't make any sense. These people just don't simply make any sense.
And we have a law on the books in the state of Illinois called the Trust Act, which prohibits our local law enforcement and sheriffs and the like from coordinating with the federal authorities. But we cannot prohibit them, federal law enforcement, from coming into our state to conduct raids or do anything else like that. Meanwhile, I think it would be very difficult for them to just spread out across the country. They don't have enough manpower within the Department of Homeland Security in order to carry that out. So, look, I'm going to do everything that I can to protect our undocumented immigrants. They're residents of our state.
Why? Nobody ever asked them why. Why are you, quote, going to do everything you can to make sure the newcomers don't have any issues? As a governor of a state, you should be doing that with every citizen. But you consider the newcomers a priority for some reason, as does the mayor in Boston, and some of these Congress people. It is the utmost importance at this point that you people do everything you can to make sure they're not deported. Why? I don't understand. Do you do everything you possibly can to make sure that black people aren't arrested? Do you do everything you possibly can to make sure white people aren't arrested? If somebody has committed a crime, isn't it your number one job? Your number one job to basically secure your state. Why is it that so many of these politicians find this to be just something you don't want to deal with? No, we don't want to arrest them. Hey, Pritzker, let me just tell you, by the time Trump's out of office, they're not going to be able to vote. So when they're not able to vote, and you're not getting any federal money for them, and none of the funds that were being channeled by Dementia Joe and his administration, when all that dries up, when you can't pay for the hotels and the EBT cards and the Visa gift cards, what do you think's going to happen? What do you think your police are going to be able to take care of all these people? I mean, it's starting to get to the point where Chicago or Illinois as a state, it's getting cold. We're going to have a cold front down here in South Florida. I won't even tell you how bad it's going to be, because then you'd laugh at me, because, Barry, you sounded kind of estrogen-laden, because it's supposed to get down to like 50 degrees here. I'm like, oh my God, 50 degrees? It gets down to 50 degrees here, you start seeing women in sweatshirts and boots and parkas. I should drive around tomorrow. It's supposed to be 50 degrees here in South Florida. I should drive around, for those of you who haven't been here, so you can see. No, I'm being completely serious. These women will be scarves and hoodies and hats and gloves and, boots, because it's 50 degrees in Florida. And then by like noon, it's 75, but I digress. What is going to happen in Chicago? What's going to happen in Boston when there's no more federal money to take care of these people that you have, decided you want to make a priority? I'd love to know.
And I also obviously need to make sure that whatever they're doing in our state, the federal government, that it is actually within federal law or state law for them to do it.
On Capitol Hill, top Republicans say they support Trump's plans, which were laid out repeatedly before the election.
This is what the American people have demanded and what they deserve. They want a secure country. They want a secure border, and we will deliver upon that.
The incoming administration also likely to roll back parole for asylum seekers coming from places like Cuba, Venezuela, and Haiti. And there's some data to back this up. Our latest Fox News voter analysis finds more than 2/3 of voters favor limiting the number of people who are allowed to apply for asylum.
66% of Americans, that's an overwhelming majority, say that's it. We're done. We're closed. Get them out. But yet you've got all these people now, because Trump is about to bring in the military, and he's going to bring the military in to basically get these people out. You're all freaking out. Why? And what are you going to do to stop this man when he rolls in? When he brings the military into your city? And now, last time I brought this up, somebody said, to me in the chat, Barry, you sound like you support a dictator. No, I support a man doing what he has to do in conjunction with the military to make us secure and safe, and to basically go after people who broke federal law. You just don't get to come across the border and think everything's fine, that you're never going to be looked for. That's not being dictatorial. That's just like, hey, you shouldn't be here. But now that it's happening, they're all freaking out. They cannot believe that Trump is going to bring the military, and they're going to do everything they possibly can to fight it. That's what the Democrats are going to do. So before I go on to the next cut, let's see what here. Oh, let's do this one.
A sense of alarm is building among officials at the Justice Department and the FBI, who are bracing for possible revenge prosecutions from the incoming Trump administration. NBC News reports that some civil servants who work on a government salary have proactively reached out to lawyers. That's according to 3 people with knowledge of their deliberations. They're worried about the effect of long and costly legal battles. Joining me here in studio, NBC News senior executive editor for national security, David Rode, who reported this story. Also with us, Glenn Kirshner, a former federal prosecutor and MSNBC legal analyst. It's good to have you here, David. A lot of DOJ staffers we had been hearing and you had been reporting were saying there was some nervousness about what might happen, about, frankly, what has been said about the plans for going after people who they felt unfairly went after them. But how has the choice of Matt Gaetz changed the equation, or has it?
It has, and that's the difference. There was worry about congressional investigations. They expected that, but the choice of Gaetz, which was, I think, a real surprise to many people inside the DOJ, signaled everywhere, yes, that he's a lawyer, but he's had no experience prosecuting cases. But most of all, he is a firebrand loyalist, a very vocal supporter of President Trump, and it's seen by people as a choice. It's someone who Trump trusts, and someone who, given the ethics investigation, sort of owes Trump. Trump is sort of protecting him by giving him this new job just before the ethics report comes out. So it has raised fears that there could actually be criminal investigations and prosecutions by the Trump administration of career DOJ and FBI officials.
I think they're terrified of investigating the people who were doing the false investigations. It's amazing to me when you sit back and look at the rats that were raiding your garage and eating your food. Now we're mad because you're killing some of the rats. This earlier when I was talking to you guys about some of the appointments, and what I said to you is, as you watch television, if you watch television, what you're going to hear on an ongoing basis, over and over and over again, the number one objection over everything else. They don't care whether, they say you're not qualified, but the only one they can actually say is that he's going to go after people that, might have gone after Trump. I guess you guys don't realize he said this over and over and over again. If you broke the law, we're coming after you. I'm not going to go over it all over again, but you're seeing over and over and over, these people are pooping their pants. They know they're cornered. They know they got caught. And at this point, you deserve what's coming. You deserve it. You took your shot at the king, literally, and you couldn't take him down. And now you're freaking out because the king's coming back and going, go after him, go after him, go after him. And I don't mean go after him just because of who he is. First, we just needed to look at some things. Let's go ahead and look at some stuff. Preserve your documents. Let me see your emails. Let me see your phone. If you did nothing wrong, you don't have to worry about anything. That's what the Democrats were saying for so long. Why did Steve Bannon refuse the subpoena? Oh, well, if Steve Bannon didn't do anything, he should have just given up all the information. Okay. Why did Peter Navarro? Why did he not follow the subpoena? All right, well then, same thing. If Trump subpoenas or has Matt Gaetz subpoena your phone records, you don't want to give them up, then you just go ahead and check yourself into the pokey for 4 or 5 months. But then again, you didn't have Elon. And you didn't have all those text messages and direct messages and all the things that you did. You need to lawyer up hard. Because I'm pretty sure that Trump has already put in place or has information. Remember, he said we have everything. And I know from watching television, lying to a federal officer is what? Is a crime. So, when they come looking, and they come knocking on the door and say, we need your phone records, we need your computer, we need your cell phone itself, and we need your wife's cell phone, and we see you got another burner here, we're going to need that. It doesn't matter if you try to delete it. More than likely, they've already accessed it. That's why they don't want Tulsi Gabbard as DNI and John Ratcliffe as CIA, is because all the resources of that group will now be available. There's no place you can hide. Whatever you thought you were going to get away with, it's going to come to light. So these people are going to fight tooth and nail. And Trump and team are not going to be able to do it alone. You're going to have to engage. You're going to have to get in the fight. Even if it's just simple texting people, writing emails, calling your congressman, calling your senator, and saying, confirm him, confirm her, confirm all these people, quickly confirm them. We don't want to hear your crap about, he did this and when he was 21, and, we heard he may have smoked a joint when he was in high school after the prom. Nope, not going to work anymore. Don't want to hear it. If somebody did X, Y, and Z, and you're just finding out now as they're getting, appointed something, nominated, and you didn't know any of this with the way our government works, you didn't know, and now all of a sudden you know? Well, I don't want to hear it.
I think that the Pentagon is legitimately scared of Pete Heth because of his opposition to DEI. Keep in mind, the Defense Department is spending around $86 billion right now on various DEI initiatives.
I'm sorry. Let me rewind that, because I think she said, let's just hear that again, in case you guys missed it. Let's hear that again.
Keep in mind, the Defense Department is spending around $86 billion right now on various DEI initiatives.
Yeah, she said that. $86 billion on DEI initiatives for one department of the government. The Pentagon is spending $80+ billion. One agency of the government, $86 billion on DEI. I want you to let that sink in. When they told you, hey, it was a couple billion to build a wall, oh, that's too expensive. We can't do that. Hey, these people in North Carolina, their houses went floating down the river. Here's a $750 loan. We're from the government. We're here to help. $86 billion just on DEI. You don't even know what the other stuff they're spending. Wait till Elon and Vivek get in there. But the fact that we now know that our government, approved by whoever, whether it was Dementia Joe or some general, they took in $86 billion on DEI. How the hell do you spend that? There's not enough pamphlets, videos, books. $86 billion on DEI. You write your own pronouns. Even if you did let some of these people, these transformers in, there's no way it would add up to $86 billion. Whose pockets were getting lined with that? So we don't want Pete Heth coming in and going, okay, let's see the books here. $86 billion on DEI, huh? Let's see where that went. Oh. Can you imagine? Those of you who have worked in a corporation, and even those of you who haven't, if you knew that somebody spent $86 billion, you'd probably be salivating as a taxpayer to go, I need to see where this money went. This is going to be fun. I'm going to look at all these line items. I want receipts. I want signed receipts, photocopies. I want to know how the DEI program spent $86 billion just in the Pentagon. What were you having? Lavish flyouts to the Cayman Islands every other day? Did you get cruise ships and float around and have transformers dancing and doing handstands and stuff so you could see people's junk? I have no idea. I know I saw some of the pictures. I saw the cosplay. You know, the whole furry and weird stuff going on. But $86 billion of your money that you didn't have a say-so about? That should get you pissed right now. This is supposed to be our Defense Department. Tell me you spent $86 billion on guns, on rockets, on mortars, on binoculars. I might be able to go, yeah, we needed that. But telling me I needed $86 billion on DEI, I want to slap you. If I'm Pete Heth, I just want to beat you.
And as someone whose brother has served in the Navy for almost a decade, that's insulting to me. It doesn't make any sense why my brother should be required to sit in trainings about white rage and about how he can be a better soldier by keeping his white supremacy in check, when all he does is dutifully serve his country honorably. And Pete Heth wants to root that out. I think that's a very noble aim, and I think that the opposition does stem towards his opposition to those things.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say so. $86 billion worth. What did that ridiculous Christmas event at the White House cost us? I don't know. $86 billion on DEI. Terribly corrupt. Oh, I didn't even mention that. How about getting every veteran ever who's still alive their own house? Wow. We are pissed, Barry. That's why we voted for Trump, to clean this up. Absolutely. We will see what happens when Trump cuts off the money to Illinois. Get it back. It's called reverse racism. But even that, how did you spend $86 billion? No kidding. January 20th can't get here enough. The money is not going to the poor people. Nope. I think the people up in Appalachia will tell you that. We need to have a class action against these crooks. Here's the biggest question. How much of that $86 billion went straight into their pockets? Hey, listen, let's go ahead and collect all this money from the taxpayers in America, and now we can do whatever we want. This is our personal slush fund to do whatever we want. Obviously, We've seen how they've lost trillions of dollars, so nobody's looking. Nobody's actually watching where the money's going. It's like a roller coaster ride that never ended. Just keep bringing in more. Oh, you get more? How much more? We got another $10 billion. Okay, everybody gets some. You go ahead and buy your little plastic aids, and you buy your little lubes, and wow. It's crazy. Only guilty players run and lawyer up. Yeah, good. They should lawyer up at this point. Trump did say, and where'd that go? Trump did say it's going to get rough. Yeah, we will pull through. So my opinions, get ready, stay aware. Absolutely. That's all I'm saying tonight. If I was ringing any bell tonight in tonight's show, that's the bell I'm ringing. Get ready. If somebody can steal, or a group of people can steal $86 billion, that's not money that you forget. I mean, it's $86 billion. People disappear for a lot less money than $86 billion. People's lifestyles have completely been changed because they had access to $86 billion. So they're not going to go away quietly, because going away quietly probably means going to Leavenworth. Because there's no answer. Did you take this money? Well, there was a senator I saw today. This guy got elected in 2020. When he got elected, he was worth like $8 million. Here it is 2024 with a $175,000 salary. This guy is now worth, drum roll, $80 million. How? Was it literally a revolving door? Was it like, let's pull it from the taxpayers, hey, you need 5, you need 5, you need 5, and just sharing it? I don't know. Nobody knows. That's why they're all freaking out. This is probably the first time in decades that someone is actually going to look at the books and see where everything went. Vivek and Elon are going to dig into these books, and I bet you it's within a month that they're able to put up a report. Now, remember what he said. If you haven't, you should be following Doge on X. What they're going to do is they're going to post all their reports online on X. Right here. Let me just make sure I show this to you guys. Department of Government Efficiency. They launched this thing at the beginning of November. It's already got 1.8 million followers. But they're going to post everything on here that they find. All the reports that they do will be made public. So we're going to know very quickly, what the hell is going on. And we're going to see it. And we're going to see it in real time. That's got to be making some people absolutely bat poop crazy. That you're going to be able to track. Okay, so we've done our audit on XYZ office. Here's what we found. But before we sent it to you, we had to send it to Matt Gaetz because he had to round up some people. As Elon has said, there are 499 agencies in the government. 499 separate agencies. So it's not going to be tough. Hey, listen, we understand your budget was this. You've done it with your own house. What's our budget? Okay. What is this? John's house of AIDS. What are these plastic things you bought for $20 a piece? 300 of them? You bought 3 funny looking devices for $1,000 each? Who'd they go to? Who authorized it? You're going to have people turning on other people. You're going to have people who aren't jail ready. That's a good word. They're not the type of people who want to be held in cells, who are going to be chirping and telling everything. It is going to be a true house of cards. I don't mean like the show. I mean like a true house of cards. This thing is going to tumble quickly. And then the no-show jobs. Hey, there's gazillions of dollars being spent, like I told you earlier, on people who don't even work. They've just been giving money away. A lot of, I don't even know if we got enough jails for all these people. They did money like there was no tomorrow. Yeah, the $6,000 hammers, we all heard about that. They didn't spend those $6,000 on a hammer. They're going to be a lot of filled jail cells for sure. I won't be surprised one bit if all those new voting MAGA people supporting Trump in the swing states will be more than happy to help round up the newcomers. Yep. Mass deputization. That was one of the things that Pritzker said. Oh, they don't have enough people. Oh, that's where I was getting to. I'm glad you said it. I'm glad you want to see something funny? I'm going to show you a post on Doge. Okay, this was on Doge. Exactly what you just said. Exactly what you just said. It says, we are very grateful to the thousands of Americans who have expressed interest in helping us at Doge. At this point, we don't need more part-time idea generators. We need super high IQ small government revolutionaries willing to work 80-plus hours per week on unglamorous cost-cutting. If that's you, DM this account with your curriculum vitae. Elon and Vivek will review the top 1% of applicants. Yikes. They're just putting out open calls. Hey, we want the best. We want the best people who know how to look at numbers, and we're going to pay you to start going through these books. So you're right. They may deputize a whole lot of people. Yep. Lots of new jobs available in law enforcement. I know exactly where they can get the money. You know, those 87,000 IRS agents, we no longer need them. We need 87,000 more, police, whatever you want to call them. Enforcement officers, deputies. Can we henceforth refer to the newcomers as hungry? Yeah, that's going to happen. It's going to get cold, and watch what happens. Watch what happens, people. But Barry was a left-handed hammer. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. All right, so what does it say about Elon here? That was funny. Barry Gitmo is ready. That guy is wrong. We could have lots of deputies. Yeah. This is so good. I say we take all the money they're worth and give it back to the people. Yeah, they've been taking it from you. You're going to hear some more of this stuff. So let's go and start talking about his most recent picks. So I just told you about Sean Duffy. Let's go into this one.
A sense of alarm is building among officials at the Justice.
All right, so let's take a look at a couple of the names that Bill Maloogian was just discussing. First up, 45-year-old Brendan Carr. He's the senior Republican right now in the FCC. He was nominated first by President Trump in 2017, and what's curious is he sent letters out to the heads of Meta and Google and Apple on Wednesday, and that just follows up on his vow to take on censorship. Also, he made national headlines after ripping the Saturday Night Live show for putting Harris on before the election without Trump, which violated FCC rules. And that's why NBC then gave Mr. Trump a little time after a NASCAR race. What's interesting is this guy and Trump are, for the most part, on exactly the same page. He's a disruptor of the status quo. He's going to go after social media. He's also a deregulator, which, of course, Trump likes. The one spot that they are not on the same page is TikTok. He has said essentially that it's a danger to national security and would like to see it banned. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has said he will save it from a ban and have it live a long life, essentially.
Well, he's vowing to take on and dismantle what he calls the censorship cartel, and that's all those social media companies, Facebook and Google, Apple, Microsoft. And he says he is a warrior, or Trump says he is a warrior for free speech. And in that letter that he sent to Tim Cook and to several other CEOs, he said Americans have lived through an unprecedented surge in censorship.
That guy's probably got the toughest job coming in the administration, probably even tougher than Matt Gaetz. He's going up against not individuals. He's going up against the biggest companies in the world. Google / YouTube, Apple, Facebook. These people are not going to go down easy. They are not going to go down without a fight. So he's going to have something, like we've said, another arrow in his quiver back there, to really make these people sit up and take notice. There has to be some mechanism he can say that basically, if you don't do this, we're going to come at you with the full force of the United States government. You're not going to be able to do any of this stuff if you don't stop doing this. I'm telling you right now, this company here is so big and has so many layers. I've actually often submitted chat requests because nobody picks up the phone. Nobody picks up the phone here. And say, hey, listen, what's wrong? Why did you do this? What's going on? Can somebody tell me? Those of you, many of you were on some of my broadcasts where I'm sitting here talking, blah, blah, and blip, it's gone. Just gone. And I'm sitting here hitting support, goes, what the hell's going on? What are you doing? Blah, 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 blah. And then it just comes back up. Hey, no, disregard. What do we mean disregard? Why did it go down? Nobody answers. Nobody tells you. There's no response. I'm sure there's other people who've experienced the same thing. Some people I know have lost their entire channel. You never get a reason. You never get any excuse. You pissed off somebody. I thank the Lord every single day when I wake up and I click the button. I'm like, am I still here? Whew, yeah, I'm still here. It literally is living like that when you're a conservative content creator. You have no control and no idea when you wake up the next morning, are you still live? Is your channel still up? Nobody, nowhere, left or right, should have to live under that kind of insanity. There should be a very clear delineation. This, and this. Don't do this, and this. And if you do this, and this, we'll let you know what you did, and we'll also let you know what you need to do to fix that. You just don't go, gone. What do you mean, gone? Just gone. That's happened to many, many people. I mean, I know some of you guys used to follow a guy on here. He was a content creator, made some good stuff. The guy's name was Doug in Exile. And Doug used to make some pretty good content. I would watch some of Doug's stuff. And then one day, he woke up. Gone. Dan Bongino. Arguably the #1 news-related streamer in the country. Hundreds of thousands of people watch his streams. Millions of subscribers. He woke up one morning. What? Gone. You never know. So one aspect of what this guy is going to do, hopefully, is find out what's the criteria here, or is it just one day you get a bug up your ass because Barry said something about, that island, and we can't have him talking about that. Why is it that there are certain words that people are not allowed to use even though it's legal information? I'm telling you right now, if I started saying stuff about the guy who didn't make it in jail and what's gone on with him, and if I could actually take the filing in court and read the filing, and they would delete it. That's how bad it is. And I'm not complaining. This is the business I've chosen. Like Hiram Roth said, I understand what I'm getting into. I understand that I'm boxed in here. I understand. And we're looking at Rumble for some things as well. But what you don't understand, because you're not doing it, is how much power they wield over you, and it's empty power. You don't even know why. I've had to learn how to say the words newcomers and baby disposal and speedos, because you can't say the real words. So when Trump sicks this guy loose, who's already begun sending the letters out saying, hey, we need to know what's going on. Watch what happens. Watch how hard they fight him. Instead of just saying, you know what, you won. you call the shots. We're done. We're not going to do any of that stuff anymore. And we're it was doing something. We were trying to help Dementia Joe. You caught us. Everything's good now. Okay. Can we just move on? No, it's not. You kicked the President of the United States off your platform. Donald Trump was the President of the friggin' United States. And one day he woke up and you booted him. And old Twitter booted him. And Facebook booted him. And you don't think that this man it's been sitting on his shoulder. And he's like, I know if they did it to me. I'm the President of the United States. He wasn't the ex-president. He was the President of the United States. I know if they did it to me, they did it to thousands of people. He knows that. Thousands of unassuming people who do not have the power of the presidency, who had no recourse whatsoever, gone. And these people did not expect this man to win. They definitely didn't expect him to win in a landslide. They definitely didn't expect him to win a popular vote. And now they're all probably sitting back going, oh my God, what do we do? The man's coming in with a Thor-sized sledgehammer. He's going to take us all apart. Yep. It's almost like it's too late to conform. It's too late. He knows what you did because you did it to him. All he's got to do is tell Matt Gaetz and others, just go look up my profile. See if you can find it. See what I posted that all of a sudden they said, no, you got to go away, Mr. President. He's always said that I'm running for president because I'm just in the way. They're coming for you. And they are. And so now, with this guy looking to run the FCC, well, let's see what happens.
Your company's played significant roles in this improper conduct.
Listen, I think this guy is the perfect pick, and it's a vital pick. He's going to look at Google, pressure on Facebook, who already said they want out of politics. I didn't hear many complaints this cycle about Facebook when, remember, the Zuckerbucks did a lot and the shadow banning was significant, and we found out later with the Twitter files. But there is no way TikTok shouldn't be banned. If you talk to Mike Gallagher, you talk to Democrats, anybody who does any research, TikTok has to be banned. It is a spy tool for China. It's effective, I got it. But it's also effective and it's fun and they have a better algorithm. The tech people could tell you. But there's no doubt about it, China's using it to their advantage. And if you want to know, China makes it an educational tool. They use it here for a poisonous tool. And they're taking everyone's personal information.
Why can't someone here develop something similar?
They've been forced to sell.
It's the algorithm. And it's particularly usable.
But the back door is wide open, Steve.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody could invent it. I mean, that's the great thing about technology. You could invent your own, but they've just figured out the secret sauce on that. And it's so perfect. And that's why it's so intoxicating.
It's not intoxicating. It really isn't. It's fake. You can be a woman who's good looking and jiggle a little bit and get 1 million views. Doesn't really mean anything. Doesn't mean that people are actually looking to see who you are, what you're doing, or anything. It's insane. So this next piece I want you to hear, this is Vivek Ramaswamy. And he's talking about some of the stuff I told you earlier about, the no-show jobs and chasing down where all this money got spent.
I want to get your take on how this begins. Sure. What are you looking to cut right from the beginning?
So first is we want to go right in through executive action to do the failures of the executive branch that need to be addressed. Because the dirty little secret right now, Maria, is the people we elect to run the government, they're not the ones who actually run the government. It's the unelected bureaucrats in the administrative state. That was created through executive action. It's going to be fixed through executive action. Think about the Supreme Court's environment over the last several years. They've held that many of those regulations are unconstitutional at a large scale. Rescind those regulations, pull those regs back, and then that gives us the industrial logic to then downsize the size of that administrative state. And the beauty of all of this is that can be achieved just through executive action without Congress.
Love that. So they're going to go after these agencies and bureaucrats, and they don't even need to have it passed through Congress. They can just say, okay, this agency, yeah, it's done. It's gone. Now, of course, they'll sue. somebody will sue. But in the interim, I mean, it's not going to work. These guys are going to go in and they're going to find so much fraud and so much waste. It's going to be glorious.
Score some early wins, and then you look at those bigger portions of the federal budget that need to be addressed one by one. So I think that's one way to think about this is how can the President of the United States, who's been elected with a historic mandate, actually do the thing that the voters have voted for? They haven't voted for incremental change here this time, Maria. We have voted for sweeping change, and
that is huge. We don't want to just look at a little bit. We want to see the whole thing torn down. Tear the whole diseased temple down on its head. Just rip it apart. Destroy it. We don't want it anymore. Most people don't even know it. I can't even say that I know. 499 separate agencies? I couldn't name 499 different governmental agencies. Couldn't possibly do it. So just think to yourself, how many governmental agencies that we're funding that are coming from your tax dollars? 499 of them. We should do like a spontaneous contest. How many governmental agencies can you name? It would take too long, but 499. I bet you most people couldn't get past 20, 25. 20 to 25 agencies is probably the max that most people could name. And then you'd have to look for the rest of them. What is this? What is the Department of Shrimp Exercise? Who created that? And why do they have 20 employees? And why each one of these employees making $100,000 a year? Oh, it's going to be that bad. Trust me. When they start releasing this information, people are going to scream. Because if you don't know that there were 499 agencies, you don't know how many people were working at each one of these agencies and how much these people are getting paid. Media never talks about it. Most people in government never talk about it. It's like, you've seen the meme. What is it you do here? Well, when I come in once every 3 months, I change the water in the the shrimp tank. That's all you do? Yeah, how much you get paid? No, about $150. And I got a car allowance. And I have an apartment allowance. I mean, be prepared to be stunned. I'm telling you right now, on November 18th, the American people are going to be absolutely shocked to pain when they find out what they've been paying for, where they haven't explained it to you. I mean, just the fact that there are 499. It shocked you this earlier when I said that they spent $86 billion on DEI in one agency. So multiply that times 499 agencies where everyone's getting a piece of that DEI money. What in the hell is DEI that you need a budget for it? You want to use a pronoun? Use your pronoun. You want to put on a dress? Put on a dress. What the hell do you need to spend money promoting DEI? Is it brainwash money? Barry, you will accept these people in the dress. You will expect and respect the people in the dress. I can't imagine. What could they possibly be spending on DEI? You got to go sit in some stupid conference, some seminar, where some transformers going to come in and talk to you, where you're going to be told that you should be ashamed of yourself. Maybe that's why everyone's shaving their head. Maybe they've gone through DEI training at their jobs or something. I have no flipping idea. I don't know. I can't answer you. But what I can tell you is when he and Elon start going through the books and they start telling us, yeah, well, we looked at the Department of Eyeball Refraction and they've spent, $300 billion over the last year. And what do? How many people? It's coming.
Voters actually deserve to get it, and we're focused on how to do that as early and as quickly as possible.
So President-elect Trump just said on that soundbite that you're going to make recommendations. So you're going to make recommendations in terms of where to cut after all that you've just said. Then what?
Look, we're not going to be cutting ribbons. We're going to be cutting costs. And so those recommendations are going to be on a real-time basis. But I do want to take a big step back and understand, for people to understand the scope of this problem. Over $500 billion that's spent every year right now was not even authorized by Congress in the first place.
For those of you who may be struggling with math, over $500 billion was never authorized. $500 billion. That is $500 billion has been spent without any authorization from Congress whatsoever. $500 billion has been spent by agency heads with no authorization, and nobody in Congress thought to themselves, "Hey man, should we figure out what these people are doing with this money? I mean, after all, it's not ours, it's the taxpayers. Should we really just be letting these people spend $500 billion?" I can't imagine. I cannot imagine, and this is 1 year. I can't imagine when they dig in and find out this one agency, or not this one agency, but they've been spending $500 billion a year, per year, and nobody knows or has any accountability for it. It's stunning. It's stunning. I mean, that's the kind of thing that people do an insurrection for. That's the kind of thing that would cause people to storm the Bastille. When you find out for the last X number of years that people have been stealing maybe 3/4 of the money you get deducted for in Texas. Now you know why Trump has been floating this no tax thing. Because if they get in and they can start finding all this waste, which means they don't need the money, how much are you taking in? How much are you spending on BS? And can we make up that difference without draining the pockets of American taxpayers? You want to see the Democrats fight? Wait till that comes out. Hey, listen, we brought in a gazillion, and we just realized that 3/4 of that gazillion is waste. So we only need 1/4 of the gazillion. Where else could we raise it? Yeah, we could raise it in tariffs. Okay, so we don't need anything from the American people. I'm telling you right now, and I've made the statement, and I said the Democrats may never ever win another election. Barry, why would you make that statement? Because if Trump does away with income tax, if he's able to find a way and find the money to do away with income tax, federal income tax, there's not a single Democrat who could ever run again and say, I want to reinstitute the federal income tax. It would never happen. Once you got to keep your money, there's no politician who's going to change your mind and go, well, you know what? I'd rather be paying 25, 30, 40% of my money to the government and not know where they're spending it. Sign me up for that, says nobody ever. It's coming. There's a reason why Vivek and Elon said, we only need 2 years. Remember, they've only signed on to this Doge thing for 2 years. They said we can basically clean this up in 2 years. Why would they have said that? Because it's pretty easy. You know, they got every computer program in the world. They know how to do it. They've run businesses. And when they find out that $1 gazillion has been basically blown into thin air and people are buying everything under the sun and they're not working, and they say back to Trump, hey, listen, we found a way. We found a way to make the government continue to run, and we don't need all this money. Let's just go ahead and ixnay the income tax. It's coming. I'm going to say it right here on November 18th at 8:50 p.m. We will, within 2 years, Trump will announce no income tax. You can go ahead and write it down. Hey, I'm gonna call Barry out on this 2 years from now. Go ahead. That's what these guys are doing. That's your money shot right there. They're gonna dig in and find out we don't need your money. Nobody's ever done that because there's no possible way that they would ever let you know that you're spending it. Remember what, if you watched my earlier show, you remember what Kash Patel said. And if you missed it, go back and watch that. What did Kash Patel say? Kash Patel said when he started looking at things, and he's like, well, why don't we don't need it. Why don't we just give this money back to Congress? And people freaked out. Oh, we can't give it back to Congress. Oh, no, we got to spend it. And, we only have 90 days to spend it, so let's just do wild excursions and go away to Bora Bora and have a conference out there and take 8 private jets. And so you're just blowing the money because you have to blow your budget before the end of the fiscal year. That's how it works. If you ever worked in a corporation, you never want to go back with a surplus. Hey, listen, your marketing department, what do you want this year? I need, about $5 million for marketing. Okay. And at the end of the year, you have the meeting with the CEO, and he's like, well, we did great. How much in marketing did you spend? Oh, we only spent 2.5. So next year, you only need 2.5. You don't need $5 million. Said nobody ever. It gets to the end of the fiscal year, and people start blowing money. That's what's been happening in the government. They're going to find out. You're going to be shocked. You're telling me at the September, August, you start seeing we got a huge surplus. What do we need to do? Gas up the jets. We're heading to Bora Bora for the DEI convention. Where the black people at? Us white people are going because we have to learn more about our white privilege. So the best way to learn about our white privilege is to take private Lear jets and G5s over to Bora Bora, stay in the best hotel, and understand, wow, I'm here because I'm white. It really sucks. How about you? Do you find it so? Oh my God, it's sorry. I feel so bad. What's for dinner? Let's continue.
The Pentagon has just failed its 7th consecutive audit, nearly $1 trillion of budget. They can't even tell you where it goes. So I think part of this is exposing for the public the extent of that rot and waste, but then to take steps first through executive action and then laying the groundwork for broader change through legislation as well to rein in that deficit, to rein in that budget. And more crucially, Maria, I know we're talking about this in terms of efficiency, but there's something deeper going on here. This is about restoring self-governance and accountability in America as well.
Are you expecting to close down entire agencies, like President Trump has talked about the Department of Education, for example? Are you going to be closing down departments?
You want to know this too, right? Well, pretty much I'm thinking the answer is yes. If a certain agency is not performing, then you shouldn't be open. I mean, well, let's see what he says.
Expect mass reductions. We expect certain agencies to be deleted outright. We expect mass reductions in force in areas of the federal government that are bloated. We expect massive cuts among federal contractors and others who are overbilling the federal government. So, yes, we expect all of the above. And I think people will be surprised by, I think, how quickly we're able to move with some of those changes, given the legal backdrop the Supreme Court has given us.
It's going to be fun. And it's all going to be transparent. They're going to show you everything. They're going to let you know everything that they see. So I would go on X and I would follow Doge as soon as possible. DOGE. I think I still have it. Do I still have it up? Let me go to Doge just so you guys can follow it. Because when they start getting in there, and they're going to post budgets and everything else. It's pretty simple handle. It's actually at DOGE, Doge. The people voted for major reform. Only reason I haven't followed it because this is my dummy account I use for videos. But I personally have followed it. But go ahead and get in here and begin watching the show. In about 2 months, we are going to see things we've never seen in this government. Never. Just think, I don't care how old you are. You are about to see things that this government has never showed you. The money. Show me the money. And then be prepared to throw up when you see it. When they start posting that people spent, and I was joking when I said they took the Lear jets to Bora Bora. I'm not going to be far off. I guarantee you, you're going to see some stuff on these expenditures and go, what? That's where my tax dollars went. Trump wouldn't even have to like do away with income tax. He can just say, here's what we're going to do, because we'll never get income tax, probably passed. I don't know if you can even do that by executive order. But what he probably could do is, I can make income tax optional. That you probably could get through with an executive order. Optional? Yeah, if you want to pay it, pay it. If not, don't. Ooh, could you imagine if he made income tax optional, and then you have some Democrat running against a Republican somewhere, and they say, which box did you check? Did you send in your taxes, or did you pick optional? So if you picked optional, then why the hell are you running on a platform to raise taxes again? Where do you want to spend the money? These guys have already showed this would be beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Love what he's doing. Let me just refresh and see if Trump has posted anything else while we've been talking. And nope, nothing else. All right, let's take a few comments. Hey, Tom, how you doing? Watch the Dems squirm once these figures are released. There's going to be no hiding. There will be no hiding. There will be no comfort. And there's nothing they can do to stop it. That doesn't require any law. Get the books, go get it, publish everything. That alone should... Remember earlier when I said Trump said he's being very persuasive about getting his guys confirmed? Maybe that's some of the persuasiveness. Hey. We already know what you did. So do you want to be like down the list, or you want to be one of the first ones we expose? Barry, who was able to borrow millions unsecured for Bitcoin? I don't know. We're going to find out. Let's see here. They don't want Trump to become president because... Where'd that go? It is from Rachel. Wow, it went to the second page. Hold on. Let me find it. I know what her avatar looked like. Wow, it jumped to the third page that quick. Oh, there it is. They don't want Trump to become president because he will stop the gravy train. Yep. Yes. If you are following some of the stuff that Elon is posting and some of the stuff that Vivek have been posting, and what these guys have been saying is not something you would normally see a politician say whatsoever. Let's see here. Okay, look at this one. He posted, "We recognize that the federal bureaucracy is the enemy, while also acknowledging there are millions of good people who work within it. And yes, it's absolutely possible to dismantle the bureaucracy unsparingly, while also respecting the individual human beings as we do it." So what that is, that's a play. A play to the people, saying, hey, we understand you just work here. We understand that you weren't the one taking the money. You're a clerk. You're a secretary. You're going to be okay. You're good. We're going after the people who spent the money. So when you start seeing things like that between he and Elon, here's another one. A reasonable formula to fix the U.S. government is Milei-style cuts on steroids. So Javier Milei, who happened to be at Mar-a-Lago with Trump and Elon and Vivek, and was talking about how he turned Argentina into a plus surplus country within like months. What do? Oh, we just cut everybody. We just cut everybody. Let me see what else they've been posting. But there's so much. Okay, here's something from. This is where I'm leaning. This is where I'm getting this feeling. In 1955, there were less than 1.5 million words in the U.S. tax code. Today, there are more than 16 million words in the U.S. tax code. Because of this complexity, Americans collectively spend 6.5 billion hours preparing and filing their taxes each year. This must be simplified. And then look at the chart. In 1960, and look how cumbersome the the tax code has gotten. They're talking about simplifying it. And he says here, I love, this was Mike Lee. If you don't want to fight fires, don't become a firefighter. If you don't want to make laws, don't become a lawmaker. Lawmakers in Congress must make law instead of empowering unelected bureaucrats. You see where this is going? They understand now the problem isn't so much the people in Congress, it's the people behind the scene, the shadows, who have been causing all of this problem. He posted this. Congress should make the laws, not three-letter agencies. Half the problem is overreaching bureaucrats, but the other half is that congressmen don't really want the accountability for their decisions. You know why? Plausible deniability. No more passing the buck. Time to pass the Reins Act. So they're talking about reining in the government by taking the power away from these unelected bureaucrats who sit in the shadows and basically run things. Let's see what Elon has posted yet. And so they're terrified of what's coming. Absolutely terrified. Let's see this one here. There are so many regulators that it's like a sports game with more refs than players on the field. And this top chart here he's talking about is regulatory agency budgets. And the bottom chart is staffing. Look at that. Look at that bloat. Nobody is in there basically taking accountability as to what the hell is actually going on. So that's where we're headed with that. Yeah, I believe so too, Gail. Tariff, not income tax. They don't want him to put tariffs because it will expose the fact that we don't need the income tax. I started doing a modicum of budget analysis. I mean, just a little bit scratching. I'm like, so if you can't find trillions of dollars, then that means you didn't need to take it. Because if you spent it accordingly, you would have the actual, receipts. But since you can't find it, it's just missing, then you never needed it to begin with. I can't wait till the books come out and report their findings. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to see people learning how to fly. I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean that to say people should do that. And if you need, as they say, the disclaimer, if you need help, seek help, that type of thing. If you need help, seek help. Well, there's going to be a lot of people in the government. You can see it coming. They're like cornered rats. And people are going to find out that so much of what we have trusted our government in has been false. And these guys are getting ready to expose it all publicly. Do you remember back in the day, I was talking about this last week or so, when they had all those harassment cases and they just went ahead and settled them? They never showed us where that money went. Who knows which Congress people had to pay these settlements? You wanted to know everything about Trump's NDA with Stormy, right? But what happened to your harassment cases with the pages and everything else? Let me see if that's still a story. Did they bury it off of Google? I don't know if you guys remember this. Yeah, here we go. It's right here from 2017. Let me pull this up. You guys, this is from 2017, 7 years ago. And let me pull this out as its own article, and so you guys can see it. I don't know how old you were, if you remember anything about that, but Congress paid out $17 million in harassment settlements. $17 million. Here's why we know so little about the money. They wouldn't tell anybody. Two things have become painfully clear on Capitol Hill this week. Lawmakers and staffers say harassment is rampant. But even members of Congress have no idea just how widespread the problem is. The controversial and sensitive issue has taken center stage, with female lawmakers making fresh allegations of harassment against unnamed members who are currently in office and blah, 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 blah. On Thursday, the Office of Compliance released additional information that it has paid victims more than $17 million since its creation in the 1990s. That's right here, $17 million. That includes all settlements, not just related to harassment. Who was the harassee? Or harasser, whichever one. Tell us. Why did that never get disclosed? Why did they never say, oh, we had to pay out $1 million because of this congressman and $1 million because of that congressman, and, but we kept it quiet. What? Why is that quiet? Please, Elon, Vivek, dig into that. How many people sitting in Congress right now had harassment suits paid off by you and me, and we weren't able to know who they were? Piss you off? Piss me off. What makes it that they don't have to have it disclosed? It's not like it came out of their pockets. Most people, if they get sued, they got to pay it themselves. Like, hey, go ahead and pay off my harassment suit. Okay, let it go. Well, it came out of the fund of the government. Why are we paying other people's harassment suits? If they are found guilty of government theft, isn't that considered treason? I don't think so. I don't think it's treason. But they can go to jail because the victim signed an NDA. But see, the problem is, even if you signed the NDA, you used, it wasn't your money. When Trump paid Stormy whatever, it was his money, or Michael Cohen, but whatever happened. This is your money. Somebody spent your money and didn't tell you where they spent it. Great time to be a DC lawyer. Yeah, it is. All right, so I can tell when I've got to a point where people are like, all right, let's go. Somebody's like, I sure could use one of them hoodies. All right, so let's end this now. And we've been going for an hour and a half, and it's 9 o'clock. So thank you guys for tuning in. But let me get ready to basically give away some hoodies. Got to do 3 hoodies, and so I got to log in over here and make sure. All right, so let me pull this screen over this way. Let me go back up here, and all right, so you guys can see. Let's cut this over here. Hoodie number 1, and the winner is Rhonda Toth. Rhonda Toth. You just won a new hoodie, a new hoodie, a Trump hoodie. Let's go to number 2, live draw. Let's pick another one. Ooh, Derek DeVries. I think he put his name in there twice. Derek DeVries just won the hoodie, and one more. Let's go ahead and do it. Click the button. Roy Lombardi. I forget the first lady's name, and Mr. DeVries have all won hoodies. Thank you guys very much for doing that. Let me go ahead and acknowledge the super chats before we get out of here. We have the Mountain Goddess. My understanding is Congress has a huge slush fund just for harassment suits. Yeah, but it's my money, as the movie says. Just another knucklehead. Hey, brother. Hush money, agreement to settle without a lawsuit. Nothing happy, essentially. No one can talk about it as part of the agreement. But again, that's your money. It's not their money. So the person who got sued didn't have to spend their own money. SpongeBob, Sponge Brain, thank you very, very much. Let me scroll down here. And, okay, there's a bunch of comments in here in my thing. Okay, Eric Smith. Kids missing is a third rail as you can get. When the truth comes out, it will be easy to bring these people to justice. Yep. And if they're not given protection by people like like these guys, it'll be even easier. Mark Holloman. I love how you skip people's super chats because it doesn't meet your criteria. Who's monitoring your super chats? I don't skip them. I do them at the end of every show. Oh, that's what SV was texting me about. Oh, you're Mark Holloman. Mark Holloman. Yeah, I don't skip anybody. I just haven't got there. See, this is how it works. So yeah, chill, bro. Chill. Damn, I'm sorry. This is when we do it at the end of the show. I didn't skip anybody. Melvin Blodgett. Barry asked Grok to list all government agencies. Good point. I will do so. I will ask Grok for a list of all of them. Somebody, SV says, breaking, the Pentagon is reportedly legitimately concerned that Pete Heth, if appointed Secretary of Defense, will immediately defund close to $86 billion spent on DEI. Oh, yeah, he will for sure. Hot rods, thank you very much. Hot rods and 4x4s. Let me just go to the next one. Why would you think I skip Super Chats? If anything, I might miss one, but I don't skip them. AJ Jimenez fired the 100,000 not reporting to work, average Fed salary 106. That's $10.6 billion. That's a lot. That's a lot. Lots of donuts there. Acid burn. It's God's people against the anti-God people, I think. Yeah, I could see that. Absolutely. Alvin Bragg. Let me see over here. Let's click the next page. I think I may have gotten them all. I'm still scrolling. I don't want anyone to think I didn't come to them. Okay, Jose Bazil. Hey Barry, you cracked me up. At this time, your team is better than the mainstream media. Still, I love your show. Never miss it. Thank you. Mountain Man. It's not revenge. It's justice. Natalie, the War Room. Patriot Mom, I am so sick of tired of hearing about these newcomers. I'm a J6er that was sent to prison for trespassing in the people's house, yet these illegals first act. Patriot Mom, I would love to interview. If you could tell one of the mods, if you'd like to come on, I'd love to hear your story. Absolutely love it. So if somebody can reach out to Patriot Mom, I'd love to see if you want to sit for an interview. From AG, we need to open up Trump derangement syndrome clinics due to the corrupt liberal news we wrongly called mainstream. Somebody gonna make a lot of money. A lot of psychologists out there gonna make a ton of money. Absolutely. AM Jimenez, tell everyone against deportation. So are you pro Speedo? Call them Speedo every time they talk against it. That's the new word. Diane Torian, this is absolutely the most evil thing ever. Where are the kids? Don't know. Don't know where the kids are. It's so very, very sad. Melvin Blodgett again. 56 billion to teach lack of discipline and nut-mouthing back based on DEI. That's just so sad. I mean, they've just wasted our money. Let me go to this page. I think I just want to make sure that I don't miss anybody. So I just want to check this text from SV, and it says here, Mark has super chatted you a few times. He claims you're skipping super chats on purpose. I told him that you never skip anyone, that folks that send super chat after you leave are provided to you via text, just an FYI. So Mark Holloman, I guess he did one earlier. He did one about, remember Joe and Mika are the snakes. So that was in our earlier show. So Mark, if I missed it, it's because sometimes when I turn off, I don't see the last couple that come in. So I didn't skip you. I would never skip somebody on purpose. Let's see here. Sponge, like I'll go back here and see Sponge Brain is a new one. Thank you very much. So I think I've covered anybody, and if I've missed anybody, it's just from being able to keep up with everything that's going on. Nothing malicious. Every single person that I would see who would leave a super chat, I would most assuredly, thank you for doing so. So we gave out the hats. What's the thing I also need to do is tell you two things. If you like to join our private X group, go ahead to fanfareshop.org/group, and once you put that in your browser, it will take you immediately to our private group, where it's so much better than a YouTube membership. You can actually create content, you can read and see other people's content, and it's just really, really neat. We have now, I've got to change my graphic tomorrow, we have over 10,000 people. And if you'd like to be included on the giveaways, then just go ahead and register to win. Go to fanfareshop.org. You'll see my wife's pretty face there. You can absolutely enter to win the next time we give away hoodies, which will be tomorrow night. I always give away the hoodies on the nighttime show. So that's it for me tonight. You guys go ahead and have a great evening. I'm about to roll the outro, and it has some flashy lights, and people have told me just to warn people who have seizures. Thank you guys for tuning in, and enjoy the ride. It's going to be a lot of fun here as we move forward. Talk to you tomorrow.